much. I'd like to welcome you all back after what was, in fact, your final break of this year's symposium. And I have to say, it's very hard for me to believe that this year's symposium is already approaching its end. It feels like just like a moment ago, I was here on stage together with Fabiola and Lena for the opening remarks. And yet, it already has been 2 full days and a lot has happened since then. Yesterday, we've discussed the future of liberal democracy, celebrated the winners of this year's Global Essay Competition together with Philip Navratil, and gained a wide range of perspectives from all around the world. And judging by some of your faces, also made the best of yesterday's evening program. Today, we explored the global economy in a disrupted age and tackled Europe's competitiveness. And now we're just a few moments away from the highlight, this year's closing ceremony. And I can already see the team in the front now, slightly nervous, very tired, but very ready and happy. But I'm afraid you all have to be patient just for a little moment longer. But that's something we have all learned over the last year. And while we wait, let me ask a quick question to our team. Who was the first person you talked to at the beginning of your team year? Turn on the mic, then.
Peter Voser.
Exactly. It was our chairman, Peter Voser. And I think the symposium is the only place where you talk to the chairman on the very first day. And therefore, it's a great pleasure for me to invite our chairman, Peter Voser, to the stage to deliver also the final words before the closing ceremony. Please an applause for Peter Voser.
Ladies and gentlemen, liebe Studentinnen und Studenten, over the past 2 days, we have explored what it means to live and lead in today's disrupted age. One thing stood out for me. The current state of the world is not a brief phase. Disruption is not a one-off event anymore. Disruption is now continuous and led us to be honest, in the short to medium term, we will not see a return to stability. The challenge is not the scale or speed of change, but the convergence. Technology is advancing at an unprecedented pace. Geopolitical tensions are reshaping the global landscape. And demographic shifts are redefining our societies and labor markets. Each of these forces would be powerful on its own. Together, they are completely transforming the world in which we live and work. There is another reality that we must acknowledge as well. The system we used to rely on, political, regulatory, and institutional, they are not evolving at the same speed as the world around them. While technological, economic, and geopolitical shifts unfold in months, institutional responses can take years, even decades. This creates a gap between the rate of disruption and our ability to respond to it. It is in this gap where uncertainty grows and leadership is truly tested. And in this gap, as the leaders of today and tomorrow, our task is to adapt, not just to overcome the challenge the world is facing, but to seize the opportunity it gives to rethink how we grow, collaborate, and innovate. First and foremost, disruption demands that we stay anchored. In a volatile world, most people's instinct is to adjust strategy in response to every new development. But impulsive reactions are not how resilience is built. Resilience comes from clarity, consistency, and a clear sense of purpose and direction. Second, disruption also demands that we are pragmatic about technology. Artificial intelligence, automation, and digital systems will undoubtedly shape the future of every industry. They will define how economies grow and compete. But we should be careful not to misunderstand their importance. Technology will not solve our problems on its own. We should treat it as a powerful tool, but one that still depends on human judgment, responsibility, and accountability. Third, disruption requires us to confront a fundamental issue in modern society: trust. Across many parts of the world, trust in institutions is declining. That is true for governments, media, and business, and is having a very real impact on our society. Without trust, we cannot implement change, and we cannot build consensus. What is more, trust cannot be demanded or communicated into existence. Trust must be earned through consistency, transparency, and delivery. And fourth, today's all-encompassing disruption requires us to accept that no one can solve these challenges alone. Not governments, no companies, and not institutions. The scale and complexity of what we face requires collaboration between the public and private sectors and across regions and, very importantly, generations. And that's what we have seen here at St. Gallen. Over the past 2 days, the symposium has brought together more than 150 speakers from business, politics, and academia, across 70 sessions and countless discussions. What stands out is not only the breadth of topics, but also the depth of exchange. It is one of the few places where experienced leaders and young voices can freely challenge each other, learn from each other, and shape new perspectives. This kind of dialogue is essential if we want to understand the challenges we face and create solutions for a future, our future. There is also a broader question about how we respond as societies. In times of disruptions, there is a natural tendency to turn inward, to seek stability through protection and isolation. However, that approach comes at a cost. By reducing exposure to risk and each other, we also reduce opportunities for partnership and growth. For years, openness to trade, talent, and ideas has been one of the strongest drivers of innovation and prosperity. Where we turn inwards, where we close ourselves from the outside world, we are closing down opportunities for prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, we often talk about disruption as something that happens to us, but it is also shaped by us. As we have seen, the forces driving change in this disrupted age are powerful and interconnected. They will not slow down, actually quite the opposite. But they are not beyond our influence. If we have the courage to meet disruption head on and truly collaborate, we can find ways to create progress aimed at the risks. The most important lesson I take away from St. Gallen this year is this: the future will not be defined by disruption itself, but by how we respond to it. This symposium is an excellent step towards responding together. Let me close by recognizing everyone who has made this symposium possible. To the participants and speakers from more than 90 countries, thank you for contributing to such a rich and global program. To our partner companies and to the leaders of tomorrow, thank you for your engagement and your ideas. To the University of St. Gallen, thank you for being such a gracious host. And above all, to the students, the more than 500 volunteers and members of the International Students Committee who have dedicated an entire year to organize this event. Thank you. It would not exist without you. Now, I would like to invite Joo-Ran Schärer, Antonia Mau, and Magnus Tillmann to the stage for their closing remarks on behalf of the students. Thank you again, and have safe travel home.
Dear guests,
dear families and friends,
dear colleagues, thank you all for being here.
Thank you for your time, not only now, but also in these past few months.
Thank you for your support, not only when things went well, but especially when they didn't.
And thank you for your dedication, not only when it comes to your goals, but also for making this 55th St. Gallen Symposium what it is.
Today, we have the honor to represent the 30 students who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to create all of this, the International Students Committee. Together, we want to end a journey which spanned over 9 months, 4 continents, and 32 countries.
And all of you have been part of this journey in one way or another. It truly means a lot to us to be ending it here in St. Gallen together with you. The last 36 hours have been quite busy, certainly for us, and hopefully for you guys as well. We hope that they were filled with insightful discussions, exciting moments, and perhaps even a few disruptive perspectives.
Events like these may last only for a short time, but the journey it takes to make them possible begins much earlier. When we started last September, we were put together as a team, with most of us not knowing one another before. The one thing we had in common? Well, we wanted to continue creating a space for meaningful cross-generational dialogue. But if I'm honest, it was not always easy, because we are all different. Different ways of thinking, working, communicating. And there were moments, especially in the beginning, where we questioned how this would actually all come together. But these moments, the difficult ones, those were the moments where something started to change, because we had to talk to each other, and we had to listen. And sometimes we had to admit that we did not know the answer. And that's when we started to grow as a team. Not because everything worked out perfectly, but because it didn't. We learned to rely on each other, to trust each other, and to be honest about when we needed help. And at some point, without really noticing when exactly it happened, we stopped being a group of individuals, and we became a team.
And maybe that is exactly what disruption does. It pushes us to rethink, to question, and to grow beyond what feels comfortable or predictable. In a disrupted age, stability is no longer the default, and flexibility becomes one of the biggest strengths. New ideas emerge precisely because old paths are no longer available. Innovation, creativity, and resilience are not born in perfect conditions, but in moments of change, and when one starts leaving their comfort zone. For most of us, one of these moments of changes occurred when we decided to join the organizing team behind the St. Gallen Symposium last fall. Taking a full year off of one's studies does raise some questions. Why would anyone do this? And so, at the start of the year, each of us had our own motivations. But let's be honest, when you begin something like this, you rarely know what you're getting into. And to be honest, how should we have known?
Over the past year, we traveled a lot, and we got the chance to meet so many of you who are now sitting here with us today. You gave us the opportunity not only to learn more about your industries, but also about your perspectives and what truly matters to you. Of course, there were some challenges along the way, especially when friends and family started asking, "Where are you?" and "Why are you always so late?" We then inevitably started questioning our motivations too. But now, at the end of this year-long journey, I think we can finally start to answer the question of why it was actually all worth it.
For me, one of the main reasons why I joined the International Students Committee was to challenge myself, to step into situations where I did not feel comfortable yet, like standing on a stage the way I am right now, or sitting across from somebody with far more experience than myself, just trying to find my place in the conversation. And as you can imagine, in the beginning, that wasn't easy for me. But being part of the International Students Committee means being thrown into the deep end from the very beginning. You're given real responsibility, you're trusted, and because of that, everything moves fast. You're constantly faced with new situations, and you don't really have a choice but to grow. And because of that, somewhere along the way, something shifted for me. What once felt uncomfortable became normal. What once felt intimidating became exciting. And things I never thought I would do simply became things I did. And that's what makes this experience so special. Because it's not just about what we organize and what we deliver, but it's about finding a version of yourself you didn't even know existed. So standing here today, I'm not just grateful for the experiences, but for the growth that came with opening myself up to the uncomfortable and the people around me.
And that kind of openness is exactly what this platform is built on. The necessity of exchange between generations has been at the core of the International Students Committee since the very beginning. We want to bring people together from all different generations to shape our shared future, not only by engaging, but also by discussing and learning from one another. Because we want to lead with the next generation in mind. And for that, we need dialogue, that it's not just about ideas, but about experiences, about things that worked and things that didn't. Because we believe that each generation has something to teach the other.
The St. Gallen Symposium should be a space where different opinions can be shared and trust can be built. Because without spaces like this, collaboration becomes difficult, conversations become shallow, and real progress becomes almost impossible, especially in times of disruptions. So, while disruptions can feel uncomfortable, we hope that over the past 3 days, it was an invitation to learn faster, to collaborate differently, and to discover opportunities that might have otherwise been overlooked.
Speaking of invitations to learn faster, I can certainly speak from my own experience. Our year together as a team was, in many ways, a story of growth. And this growth can be seen in multiple ways. For once, it was growing with my tasks. For some of us, myself included, this was the first real working experience of my life. And so, when I started here, I worked in a department I knew nothing about. But throughout the weeks and months, I had to learn and make those avoidable mistakes that all got me to the point where I can take full responsibility for the things that I do. But I also grew in other ways. Working together in this group of people has taught me about teamwork, but also gave me a chance to become more professional and disciplined along the way. Through that process, I noticed myself becoming more mature, not only in the way I communicate, but also in the way I approach work and deal with challenges. This year has taught me a lot about the life after university, as well as it did about myself. It has been about becoming responsible, not only for tasks, but for decisions, for outcomes, and for the role each one of us plays within a team. It's been about growing into a version of ourselves that we can be proud of, both professionally and personally.
What Magnus just described wouldn't have been possible without the people around us. So we want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who has been involved in making this 55th St. Gallen Symposium happen. All of you have come here with your own backgrounds and stories to tell. And without you, none of this would have made any sense.
So thank you to our leaders of tomorrow who took the long journey from all across the world to come here to St. Gallen and share your visions and your motivations to shape the future.
Thank you to all of our speakers who shared their insights with us. You gave starting points for so many of the great conversations that we all had over the last few days.
Thank you to all our senior and aspiring leaders. Your support and presence is the foundation that makes this event possible.
We want to thank our alma mater, the University of St. Gallen, for letting us use this beautiful campus. At the same time, none of this would have been possible without our fellow students and alumni. Over the past 3 days, you stepped in, you supported us, and made this whole event come to life. So thank you.
Another big thank you goes out to all of our families who we are lucky enough to have with us right now. Your support throughout everything that we do really means the world to us. So thank you.
Thank you to our Board of Trustees, not only for your guidance, but also for living the cross-generational dialogue. For example, when we met you for an evening full of pizza, drinks, and curiosity.
To our foundation, thank you for all the support you gave us and the great efforts and long nights that we shared working towards all of this.
But lastly, we want to thank our team who made all of this possible, the International Students Committee. We want to thank you for the nights that lasted until 6 in the mornings, for the various side quests we all went on, and for being the main characters in the stories we will tell for the rest of our lives. We really love having all of you in our team.
Just as the 55th St. Gallen Symposium is coming to an end, we want to close with some final notes. Disruption is nothing we should fear. It is something we should look ahead to, as it is full of chances for each and every one of us. A disrupted age is one with an unlimited amount of potential to shape the world and to move it into a positive direction, to create a lasting impact.
Still, the real impact of the past few days is not what is said up here on stage. It is what happens next. In the conversations you continue, in the ideas you carry forward, and in the decisions you make when you return back home.
Because if there's one thing we have learned this year, it is this. You don't need to have everything figured out to take responsibility, because we certainly didn't. But we showed up, we worked together, and step by step, we made all of this happen. So, wherever you go next, take a bit of this with you. Stay open.
Stay curious.
And don't wait for certainty to make a difference. Thank you.
Now, let's welcome on stage the 3 people that work their hardest to keep us in the right paths along the way. We hope you have seen them on stage over the last 2 days as they have been your conference hosts. Welcome to our presidents of the International Students Committee, Fabiola, Jonas, and Lena.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to wait any longer. The moment our team has worked for the whole year has finally arrived.
We would be delighted if you could stay to share the special moment with us.
We hope that you had the chance to meet our wonderful team over the past 2 days. And if not, this is the perfect opportunity. With that, I would like to begin with our transportation team, Benjamin and Pascal.
Our food and beverages team, Rocio, Anit, and Noam.
Our innovation and technology team, Katharina, Kevin, and Magnus.
Our participant service team, Nanami and Andres.
Our markets and program team, Konstantin, Paul, and Robin.
Communication team, Vanessa, Joo-Ran, Lara, and Natalie.
Our leaders of tomorrow team, Lara, Lorenzo, and Matteo.
Our social sessions team, Dana, Fanny, and Victoria.
And last but not least, our technical operations team, Anjana, Antonia, Jonathan, and Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to celebrate with you further, but I also hear the food calling from the main building, so you can also go to dinner and celebrate with us afterwards. Thank you so much for being here.